Hello, hello, hello! So, finally I'm back. Thank you so much for coming back on the channel. Well, I'm very happy and very excited to show you the next game because it was once again played by Magnus Carlsen. It's gonna be a very interesting one, but before that, just to remind you, so if you like to come up with donations, you can do it here. On this channel. After the video, you're gonna have it in description. From another point of view, if you need any of the opening PGN'S that I did in previous lectures and weeds, you're gonna be able to go on my site, bigmaya.com, go on downloads part and just send me an email exactly with the names of the openings you request. Let's get started. So I'm showing you a game that was played between Magnus Carlsen playing white and Viswanathan playing black. Game was played in Zurich Chess Challenge back to 2014, and Carlsen went with the ready opening, first played knight f3. After d5, he went with b3, and this variation is mixed between ready opening and Ng5 Nf6 attack. So after Vishy went with c5, Carlsen played very unexpected e4. And that's why in the title of this video, I told you it is Budapest Gambit reversed. What's the difference? The difference is that here one has additional tempi of b3. It's called Norfolk Gambit. But basically, for all of you who really enjoyed Budapest Gambit, this is exactly the same opening. Just we added like additional tempi with the b3 move, which is going to turn out to be very important addition to White's position, because in many lines, White is just taking advantage of move being b3 being played, and they just move the bishop on b2. So d takes e4 happen in the game. What happens if they just go with d4? Big number of my students usually ask me, what do we do, Maya, if they simply don't accept the gambit, but they just pass this pawn and play d4? Nothing. Here you play bishop e5. Of course, if they play like this, you always take advantage to break this pawn structure, play like d3, fixing the weakness on c5, and afterwards play like, I don't know, play bishop a3, do short castle, go with c3 or knight d2, rook c1. All you have to do is just to go after the c5 pawn. In case of d4, bishop b5, bishop d7, you just play a4. You're happy always in this type of games if you open up your a file and recapture by pawn. So it's good for you, but in case they don't take it, but they force you to do the same, then you take and play knight a3. This knight controls b5 square. You want to play knight c4 afterwards. Of course, you want to make castle first, and white is slightly, but a long-term better. After e4, Viswanathan captured on e4, and Carlsen played knight g5. And this is exactly the same. If the knight goes on e5, it is going to be FIDE Gambit reversed. But in this case, it goes on g5. By the way, for all of you who are just wondering, does knight e5 work because of queen d4? Looks like we're about to lose the rook or knight. I just have to remind you, yes, it does work because you play bishop b2 and you play knight c3. And for all of you who know something about the FIDE Gambit, guys, you just know that we go with the knight c4 and we go after this queen. Anyways, you're going to play knight g5. That's what Carlsen played. And after knight f6, played knight c3. Nothing. Typical Budapest Gambit reversed. By the way, once again, original name of this gambit is Norfolk Gambit into the Ng5 Nf6 attack. So, knight c6 happened in the game. What would happen if this guy tried to defend upon? Nothing. For all of you who play the Budapest Gambit, you just know we open up the back rank, preparing for a castle, but more importantly, provoking our opponent to play knight bd7. Then we play queen e2. We're just pretty much focusing our attention on the e4 pawn. And when they play e6, we take on e4. I remember one guy from my city played a game against 1FM and he was like very happy to capture the pawn, and this guy came up with his modern mate in a similar type of position in Budapest Gambit. Anyways, if they first take on e4, you take, you once again threaten the same thing. So if a takes knight e6, it's mate, smothered mate. If bishop e4, you have to include bishop d7, and here you're just going to be able to play bishop b2 afterwards, where once again this b3 additional tempi could turn out to be good improvement for white players, because you'll place your bishop on b2, you'll most likely play d3 to fix the pawn on c5 so they can't push c4, and with the bishop on b2 you just have a great control along that diagonal. They can't play e6, bishop e7 so easy, and you have such a nice and easy game. I'll show you a game of mine after I saw this game, and by the way, thanks to Craig Ellison, basically I found out about this game. Thanks Craig for suggesting this game to me. So after bishop e5, knight b7, queen e2, a6, knight e4, I played a game in a blitz against somebody after e6. Oh, by the way, once again, you threaten knight e6 modern mate. After e6, bishop d7, queen d7, bishop e2, bishop e7, long castles and short castles. And I remember I was like very excited to be able to come up with some attack, and look what I did. I played knight f6, bishop f6, played g4. Literally the only move is to place this bishop back on g6, h4. Now I'm threatening to play h5 to trap up this bishop. The only move to defend is h6. And guess what? Stop the video and go for the move for white. So we're practicing initiative. I played g5, h takes. Now I just open up the h file, and the king is definitely very weak. My opponent captured. I played queen g4, threatening bishop, but at the same time, more importantly, threatening to place my queen back on h3 in case he moves the bishop back on e7. The guy played bishop h6, who wouldn't do this. And once again, now we're practicing tactics. Pause the video and find tactics for white. Rook takes h6, which is an important move here to break the king's side. And when he captured, I played knight e4, threatening knight f6, and my opponent resigned. So this is a blitz game, but it's a nice one. Anyways, after knight c3, they can also play bishop g4, where you play bishop e2. If they capture, take by queen and get a pawn back on e4. If they go back with the bishop, you just play bishop e5, followed by queen e2 with absolutely the same position like against fifth move bishop f5, so it's transposition. Finally, if they play queen d4 to try to defend the pawn on e4, you play bishop c4 threatening on f7 with a tempi developing, and you play queen e2. You just want to get the pawn back on e4. You just have a normal game. Now, this queen can even turn out to be a bad piece in case I play fast bishop e2 and long castle, because they will have to move the queen back, and we would just be able to jump off with this knight from c3, mainly to capture an e4, to open up bishop on b2, and similar to my blitz game to organize the attack. Let's get back to Carlsen Anand game. So after knight g5, knight f6, knight c3, Viswanathan played knight c6. Carlsen played bishop c4, threatening this pawn. Vishy played e6, Carlsen played bishop e2. Bishop e7, castles. Who would say that it is going to be such a great tactical game? But just take a look what happened. Carlsen captured an e4 and opened up the bishop I constantly keep talking about. It's called like Nimza Larsen bishop, because it's Nimza Larsen opening, first move b3, but this was like mix between Ratti opening, between Nimza Larsen opening, and of course Budapest Gambit and ideas from that gambit. So after knight e4, I already have to say that I like white's position, because I like the activity of white's pieces. Vishy played e5. He just opens up this light square bishop, and here, once again, pause the video and find a move with which you're going to be able to increase pressure on the king's side and launch the initiative. It's f4. Carlsen played f4, trying to open up his rook on f file And all of a sudden, all together with this bishop on c4, make a strong pressure against the f7 pawn. White captured, of course, that Carlsen could have captured with a rook, but he played queen h5, which I like even more because he makes an immediate pressure. Both of these bishops are just monsters. And by the way, he even threatened some pawn on c5. He's gonna be able to take on f4 afterwards, and Wishy played knight d4. Knight d4 is very like reasonable reaction by black. He certainly didn't play knight d4 to take on c2. He just did it to stop activity of the bishop e2. Carlsen captured on f4, and Anand played g6. Very nice move here, placing the queen in the middle of the board, like e5 square. Look at how strong this queen becomes here. All of a sudden he starts threatening knight f6. Wishy played b6 to defend the pawn, and Carlsen decided to develop his last undeveloped piece, rook from a1. Get ready for the fireworks. So after bishop f5, of course, he just tried to close the f file. Carlsen went with the g4. And what's happening here? The only move by Viswanathan was bishop e6. He didn't see and he couldn't predict what was happening in the game. You're going to see it's very nice tactics by white. But after bishop e4, certainly Carlsen would have taken on f7, and the king on g8 would simply be destroyed. So after bishop e6, take a look at this position once again. Of course, that Carlsen captured on e6 because nobody can hope for knight e6 because it's checkmate after queen h8. But Viswanathan played f takes e6. And Carlsen, of course, captured with rook on f8 in order to remove defender of the f6 square. So after bishop takes f8, white came up with the knight f6 check. The only move that Anand went for was king h8. And here, once again, I kindly ask you, actually not here, Carlsen now included c3. So it's a little bit weird to close your probably strongest piece in most of previously seen positions. So he plays c3, closing this bishop on b2, and actually preparing himself for something very nice. Get ready for this one. After knight c6, let's go. Pause the video, find tactics. Magnus Carlsen played it almost instantly, of course, and Viswanathan resigned the game. So if you pause the video, you probably by now have the move. It's knight e8, a beautiful queen sack. So if knight takes the queen, da-da-da-da, checkmate. So what a nice mating pattern. You have to admit this is really nice. In the game was king g8, and here queen h8, another check. What a beautiful queen sack with the same topic and the same mating pattern. After Viswanathan takes on h8, Carlsen would have captured on f8, and once again, it would be a beautiful mating picture. Hope you enjoyed this game. I'll try to find more of these games in the future. And of course, subscribe on this channel and tell your friends if they see it or if they like it, just to subscribe, donate, and help us. Thank you so much, and see you very soon. Bye-bye.